Hey everyone, I want to make a quick video here just to give you a little bit of a hint if you're new to Ipython Notebook. Also, if you're not new to Python but you're new to Ipython Notebook, this might be pretty interesting because you can see kind of some of the cool things that it can do. Okay, so I'm showing you this on Linux, but this should be pretty much the same on Mac or on Windows. I've created a directory here that I'm going to use. You can see the contents. And I'm going to start Ipython from this directory on the command line. So to do that, I'm going to start Ipython notebook. And then once I do that, it's going to create a new tab in my browser. And what this is going to let me do is I'm going to be able to create Ipython notebook files here. So I'm going to create a new notebook. And there we have it, a blank notebook. We'll call this Getting Around 1. Alright, so Ipython Notebook's pretty special. In my opinion, it's one of the best data analysis tools that is around right now. One of the things that you can do is, well, so first obviously let's start here. You can just execute your commands in these little windows, and then if you hit play, you'll get the output, and you'll be able to program interactively like that. And I'll show you more about what interactive programming means in a second. But what's really special about Ipython Notebook is that you can put some markdown right between there, right between your cells, and you can use that to document your code. You can use that to explain the process that you're following. And also keep in mind that this is full markdown, so if you do a Google search on what markdown is, that means that you can do quite a bit of really easy formatting here to make your text look different, do some typesetting. There's really a lot of options here. I can do some bullets. Oh, not quite HTML. Bullet 2, there we go. Right. And so actually we can even use LaTeX, so later on when we get into doing a little bit more mathy stuff, we'll be able to do that as well. Okay, so let's just take a real quick tour around Python, just in case you're new to Python. You saw before I did some computation. Here I can assign that computation to a variable name. And then later, if I were to type that variable name, I can run that, and you'll see that I just got the contents of that variable. All right, Python has a lot of data structures that you can look up online if you'd like. One of the basic ones, of course, would be a list. Oops. B, C, D, there we go, like that. So we've created a list with 4 elements, A, B, C, and D. I can reference the entire list and see the contents. If I'd like only the first element, I can do that pretty intuitively. You can see that my list A is there. Python has quite a bit of support for these things that we call slices. And slices are pretty awesome, and they let you pick, well, a slice, a chunk of a object. So in this case, I wanted the first 2 items in my list. I can also go the other way. So let me see, how about that? Where you can see what I said is show me everything except the last one, -1. So a lot of power in lists. I'll let you, or in slicing, I'll let you experiment with that yourself. If you'd like to add something to a list, you can certainly do that. Oops. And then here we go. All right. Okay, so that gives you a few ideas. Let's cover functions real quick. So functions or methods. You use def to define a function. Always whenever you do a function, it's good to have a doc string that describes exactly what that does. So returns the squared value of a. return a star star 2. There we go. So this will return the square of the number that we request, and we can verify that that works. Squared 2, and we get 4 back, which is what we'd expect. There's a couple of things that you can do that'll come in handy later on to create lists for you of numbers. Lists of numbers pretty handy for some of the things that we do. Range is one of those things. If this looks a lot like you know, some of the notation that you're used to in Java, that's good. All right, so there we have a range from 1 to 9, starting at 1, and going to 10, and with a step of 1. So it ends at 10, so it doesn't actually add 10 to the list. All right, very good. One last thing, and that'll be I'll cover looping. I'm going to loop over this range. And I'll actually use my squared function again. Why not? So as you can expect, we get a bunch of squared values. It's also worth noting that you can iterate just about over anything in Python. So how about instead we do for I in my list. We'll just print I. It's not too long. So you can see we can iterate over a list of strings as well. And yeah, so that's really pretty much it. One thing to note about Python, one thing that can trip you up if you're not used to Python, is notice the indentation here. I've indented 4. It doesn't matter how much you indent as long as you are consistent. 4 is, I think, the style. Ipython should handle that for you, but in case it doesn't. The important thing is to know is that indentation matters. There are no semicolons, and this is how we know that things are nested inside of other things. There's no semicolons, no brackets. All right, well, that's just a little bit of Ipython. If you'd like to learn more, and you're not familiar with Ipython, there's a bunch of good tutorials that are in the class notes. So take a look at those. Get yourself familiar with Python. We'll be using this pretty much through the rest of the class. Thanks.